Welcome everyone to today's amazing live stream. Let's just mute the analog input here. So yes, welcome everyone. I hope a couple of more people tune in. So I thought I could do two quick live streams. Welcome Paul's Computer Lab. Welcome Devin V. So I finally got this overpriced piece of Epiphan DVI, HDMI, VGA capture USB 3 piece of binary only garbage to work. Of course, wasted way too much time on this stupid piece of junk. So to summarize, I got this from eBay a month ago, maybe plus minus a couple of days, and the original list price of this non-paid advertisement piece of junk is $699 US or so, I think, a couple of years ago. And the reason I got this is because there are not so many VGA capture things, and this was one of those, and it had the Linux driver. There was written video for Linux something, and I naively expected they mean generic Linux kernel just working stuff, but apparently they didn't. And so I completely did not expect this to be some binary only piece of stuff. So normally I don't have so much against commercial software. If they want commercial software, then they can do it, but having this in the device driver stuff of my operating system, I'm not the greatest fan of. And the problem with this, they have even done this really amateurish. Let me show you. So this is a driver, and in the meantime, by the way, I wonder, so 0 drop frames, I hope our TG3 is not breaking down. I'm, by the way, surprised that this works as much as it does, because I completely overload this Mac Mini here. Also not paid advertisement, wish I would use other stuff, but I need to use what I have left over here. There are currently two, not one, but two HDMI capture things running, one for the main camera and one for the VGA capture thing. And this unprofessional piece of junk here is built so normally you would have some object file and compile here some wrapping glue stuff, but somehow they at Epiphan, they were not teached that and did here some precompiled huge piece of matching already with kernel symbols or whatnot. So I compiled, so there are a couple of binary releases like for Fedora and SUSE, whatnot. Not many, like maybe 4 or something, some older, some newer. And this one here is for Fedora. Let's CPIO here something or whatever, but it doesn't matter so much. So basically they have precompiled the whole piece of junk here and USB something here. So I tried to use those, and right now I'm using the binary only precompiled junk for Fedora for 1816. I've chosen this because it sounded relatively newish, and I compiled a T2 kernel. However, this is using quite some esoteric features, so even for this to even have a chance to work, I had to add quite some options to the T2 kernel, and I committed this already because even this compiling a relatively close kernel didn't work. Already last month I tried this and then I gave up because this was too much waste of time. And so those esoteric options that even I have not heard or usually use are here: work ISO, more work on grub or grub. Wait a second, maybe this wasn't shared. So here are some, here's this. So this binary piece of junk is so strangely precompiled that it requires memory hot remove and zone devices and device private. Never heard about this. Is apparently some device private memory as far as I remember. And without those options you have no chance at all to use this stuff that I never had to need or use or require in my kernel. And even with those, so with those options set and the same source build and stuff, the module loads but doesn't work. It gives me some error on load of unplugging this USB thing. So what I've done now, completely against all my free will and belief and everything, I now grabbed here this Fedora pre-compiled kernel. So right now I'm running this Fedora kernel. If something crashes today, then This is thanks to Fedora. You can blame their binary only precompiled junk. So the first time in my life, probably, or since 20 years, I'm currently running a precompiled binary only Linux kernel. Here you see this with uname. Completely disappointing. So now I'm running here some 4.18.16.200 Fedora Core 28. So thank you very much, amazing developers at Epiphan. And with this indeed works. You see here, except tainting the kernel, and here this also needs some video buff stuff, whatever. But after mod probing, there's some more stuff. This piece of binary only garbage really works, surprisingly enough. And then it says here, somewhere probably here, VGA to USB. This is slightly inaccurate. They name all their crap VGA also, even if it's DVI. So this is actually DVI to USB 3.0, as you see here. VGA to USB attached to DVI to USB 3. And I only wanted to make this video to let you know what this means with this binary only stuff that I would normally never want to use. And maybe it's time for an amazing microkernel, but that takes another decade to write or something. And yeah, so by the way, I hope I stream audio. I had to stream audio. So this is also when you run another distribution, and commercial, primary, AAA, amazing, Oracle, unbreakable, or breakable, probably patched to death Linux, then you cannot just use it. You will have a binary only module that you can't load because symbols and calling convention and whatnot. And even if I built a really close kernel, it didn't work. Eventually it loaded, but still didn't work. So yeah, so much to that. And by the way, maybe leave me in the comments below if you want that if I should reverse engineer this bloody piece of, you guess in the meantime you heard it often enough. Let me know in the comments if I should reverse engineer this, or at least attempt this. I already grabbed here with object dump symbol name, so these are the functions in there to document this already, but disassembling and reverse engineering this bloody piece of nonsense will be quite some work. Here's of course some FPGA stuff. So it looks like this is loading the FPGA firmware because inside there is an FPGA. I opened this already. And yeah, so FPGA stuff, there's also some signature stuff. So here apparently some, probably, here is also some big int stuff. So I'm not sure if this is maybe even digitally signing this. So this bloody FPGA there with this USB controller stuff might only accept FPGA firmware if it's signed with their key or some nonsense, because this is what the symbol names might indicate there. And by the way, are we still streaming? Not that I talk with myself. Is our TG3 working? But this is a Fedora binary only kernel, so maybe this works here more. So here are the symbol names. Yeah, thanks for the comment of reverse engineering. The only bloody stuff is that this might take a whole month or something, peeling this bloody shit here into pieces and making sense out of this and rewriting this. By the way, I wonder if somehow recompiling this bloody stuff to C, and then would be a first step if we at least have some unreadable mangled C code of this nonsense. But this is really not how it should be. If this would be proper, by the way, what do they don't need to, this thing is of course expensive, $699, but what are they hiding? You can't directly use the FPGA bitstream on another device if you are some American or Chinese or Russian or whatsoever, not to discriminate someone. So if you are an evil corporation who wants to copy this, it is for sure guaranteed easier to write it yourself and not try to use their bitstream on your FPGA. So, and also even I see completely zero reason why this needs to be binary only, because even if you have the bitstream, so for sure there is a bitstream most likely embedded in there, and even the bitstream is only zeros and ones, and you will not make out of that much of this decoding, of this analog digital front-end decoding stuff nonsense there. So yeah, this video is, the point of this video is mostly rant about binary only junk and how much time this wastes. Even if you are on latest Red Hat or Fedora, this probably will not work because I think they don't have a binary only version for that. So either you are stuck with an older Fedora, or like me, and this, by the way, I've never done in my life probably. What usually people do, they take our T2 and take a Debian kernel or something for some esoteric Spark station or MIPS, SGI, something, you name it. And then they use the Debian kernel for that machine because we might not have a precompiled one, obviously. And then they mix the Debian kernel, not me, others. And then those folks might mix their Debian kernel with our T2 userland. And this is, of course, the reversing, only because someone recently wrote me about this. I thought, yeah, okay, you know what, reverse mix, let's just grab this bloody Fedora precompiled kernel stuff and try if this works. And of course it does. By the way, it did not just work because I of course had to build my initRD because this is fully disk encrypted. So first try didn't work because I didn't have my initRD rebuilt with my full disk encryption stuff, and then even the second attempt didn't work because they had what did they do? They had they didn't have set standard compression, because we patch normally we don't patch our stuff. It's usually extremely vanilla, but I like set standard. I don't like this xset and lset4 and whatnot. And to have here set standard for everything, for our T2 cache and mirror and everything, the only of the few things we patch the Linux kernel also for working audio is the set standard. So then this didn't boot because obviously the Fedora kernel couldn't decompress the set standard initRD, but after I manually recompressed that, now we are rolling. And here the only discomfort for me is now I have a special boot option to boot into this bloody old kernel just for this bloody old video capture thing, and I probably sweared enough for this video. So hello to the Slovakia. Thank you everyone for joining. So this live stream was stability test. By the way, RV0 drop frames, amazing. Let's swap here some video scenes. This also means I need to program here some new amazing video scenes here and need to get here a full studio setup beside redecorating our studio and making here more space for our YouTube studio setup. And with this, I guess, as I said, not really sure how often I will use this because discomfort of using an older special binary only kernel stuff, and maybe the next step would be to make the config so in a way that it at least works with the T2 kernel and not this precompiled Fedora stuff. We could take a look. So I've not tested this much here. Oops. Of course, a little bit with delay, so I'm not sure how much this is audio synchronized. And SimCity from yesterday. We could, by the way, this live stream will not go on for very long. I only wanted to give you a binary only update, how to get this working if you want to get this working, and that people really shouldn't do binary only stuff. And by the way, if we would have a better, not ever changing Linux kernel ABI stuff. By the way, is this, not sure if this is slightly moved here. I probably can load the city from yesterday. And by the way, I think this is somehow not. So the other thing is now we need to probably have some means to fine tune this VGA signal, because right now I have the feeling this is slightly cut or something. So these are then the next steps that I currently don't have control over here in the Linux setup. So you see the other capture was running full screen, this EGA or whatever mode this was does not. So we are apparently, so this is only cropped at the top there, or actually has some extra white black space, so we could actually tweak it like this for the moment or something. But yeah, this is on the next thing of capturing VGA stuff. But this is very like digital and not this DVI stuff. Are you sure? Yes. And just to test this here a little bit, on Mac there was some proprietary control application that maybe Wonder probably cannot open this video device a second time. Maybe this video for Linux thing is exposing some more controls, no idea. And we also had Doom and X-Wing. By the way, I could actually then enable the audio input, because X-Wing should have some sound just for some quick testing. And then we could, on the second channel, that you could just reading the comments, and then we could do a live stream on the second channel of just the demo or something, to capture the second reality demo in full digitally. You see this VGA mode here looks mostly okay, it's just a few pixels of black water there. And we're not sure how many frames this OBS is saying 30 frames, but not sure if this USB thing really is delivering 30 frames. Can't find the second stage tarball. Not sure what you have done there. Maybe we still need to do the Epiphan thing. So I hope we don't get copyright flagged here though for the Sound Blaster soundtrack. So this is an original Sound Blaster AWE64 or so, I think. And we could also do a live stream of, by the way, why is the mouse not moving, or did I not load the, no, did we not? I think we had. Why would the mouse not, there's the mouse, wait a second. Why is there, this is my OBS fail, this was my Linux mouse cursor that was not moving up here, by the way, still, 0 frames. And so there is a mouse here. We could also do an X-Wing. Damn it, I always want to press escape to cancel this, and then it doesn't cancel this. So yeah, we could also do a live stream there, but I would probably need to connect this with some analog VGA splitter, because this has some lag, and then it's slightly inconvenient to play this with some extra lag through the VGA capture. By the way, the graphics I found amazing. The graphics probably looked like this on our 386 SX25 with 2 MB of memory. That was, in my opinion, pretty amazing back in the day. And yeah, so also probably need to hunt the joysticks in and learn the controls here. It looks relatively good. I would say could actually be 30 frames, maybe. Not running too stuttery. We could actually try to capture 60 frames another time, and as I said in yesterday's live stream or so, I could play this on the 386 SX25 with medium details or something, except maybe the Death Star that's then on the lowest details or something like that. But I think the Death Star, even on my friends SX33 or DX33 or what they had with VESA graphics, no less, by the way, I forgot to shoot there, even on their PC, I think the Death Star wasn't playable in full detail back in the days of 486. So yeah, this works relatively well, even with audio capture. Audio capture is coming from the PC's analog audio line in. I think this captured as far as it looked here. Exit to DOS. As I said, this live stream was mostly roundabout binary only stuff, and also, although we don't want binary only stuff, maybe also a fail of the Linux kernel, that we have this ever-changing API and this flexible kind of configuration, and then it works for nobody. At least this binary-only stuff is probably, I mentioned it enough that it's inconvenient. And then maybe you can join me in a minute on the second channel of ours, a more live stream of us for a full capture of this demo, Second Reality. So if you are an underage teenager, you probably want to end the live stream new for excessive violence. And let's see what we get here. Not that you or your parents complained to me that you were watching some blood scenes here. And even Doom, I think, worked on the 386, just probably not in the very highest detail. And yeah, this is of course, here's a 486 DX266 from yesterday. And this is how it looks, the VGA mode, again only some few, maybe 1 or 2 pixels offset to the right. And also, as I said, I need some analog splitter for not having this lag that is slightly annoying to play. Also need to get used to the controls here again. So yeah, not too much violence here today on the middle of the day. For your viewing pleasure, need to save something for the next live stream. And then of course also more capture of our other programming stuff with less artifacts and everything. And in theory, that's even nice to go if this would not be this binary only junk. It would also have been a nice thing to go to always have some external VGA and DVI input for your portable Road Warrior machine, because then, like when I was at my SGI and HP UX, HP PA risk, where I didn't had some external display, and then with this small can also change the camera scene here again. Need to get more used to switching those scenes here actually, because then with just this thing in your back you have some video input on the go for all your hacking programming activities on the go and stuff like this. So I hope you enjoyed this live stream and learned something also, that binary only driver stuff is not fun. Even for me it took me some hours to get working. Maybe not as experienced binary mixing together folks would not even get this stuff to compile, because you still need to compile this, right? This at least, this was no, which did I, not that I accidentally clear this OBS, because even this binary only junk you still need to compile, and for this you also need the source RPM and compile this and configure this. So it's not just unpacking this. And even this, it has some wrapper, but this wrapper stupidly does not wrap everything. So this major VGA to USB binary object thing there contains symbols to a lot of stuff. So unfortunately, also maybe it even needs this hot plug memory. I'm not sure if it's maybe even hot plugging memory to make some memory region for the video buffer or some nonsense like this. So no idea what's up with this. Need to disassemble it more or something. And if you work for this company and want to make a more awesome end user experience, release more of this source only if you need to keep this binary only, except nobody will steal your FPGA bitstream anyway. Then at least some proper coursing with all the other stuff that you can really compile it with a more modern kernel and edit this wrapper and stuff like this, because as it is right now, it's probably a very frustrating experience for everyone. So if you like all my IT tinkering, Linux kernel, code development, vintage stuff and everything, don't forget to share, like and recommend. And if you want to see the second reality capture in full with sound this time, directly captured with this, then tune over to the second channel, where I will, for the stability test sake of this, make here one whole capture of this. Hey, 0 drop frames, amazing. At least TG3 is not crashing today, but I pre-treated this with flood pinging some website and then downing the interface and taking the interface up again. This usually helps the stability of this TG3 stuff a little bit on this stupid Mac Mini. So yeah, these are the things that we need to live with here, the regressions and issues. And again, thanks for watching, thanks for joining the chat, thanks for the comments, and as usual, leave me also, for those watching it on demand later in the archive, leave us in the comments below what you like and dislike, what you think about the binary only solution and what you like to see and not and such. And have a good day, and see you soon on the second channel for the full demo live stream.